Hey, what is up, Frag fam? I hope you guys are all doing well today. Elliot here, and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. It is that time again for another weekly fragrance rotation, and this fragrance rotation is freshie dominant. Every fragrance that I wore last week is either a freshie or at least has fresh elements to them. And in case you were wondering, yeah, it was because it was ridiculously hot last week. We did get a lot of rain as well, so the humidity was higher. If it wasn't raining, boy, it was just baking during the day. So I definitely went for the fresher fragrance options predominantly for my fragrance choices. And I did wear fragrance every day, so we got at least 7, but there's actually 8 because I did do 2 fragrances in one day. So 8 fragrances for my weekly fragrance rotation. Let's get right into it. But before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you like the content, and please hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, to kick it off, this is Sunday's scent of the day. It's from Day 3 Fragrances, and it is Escándalo. Day 3 Fragrances, Escándalo. So this one is a great option for the warmer weather. It is fresh, it's floral, a little bit powdery, it's sweet, it is smooth, has a very interesting floral combination. There's this note of daisy in here. I have no idea what that would smell like in fragrance form. I remember smelling daisies quite a bit when I was younger, but I have since kind of forgotten what they really smell like. But yeah, this one here is a really good warm weather option if you like floral scents, and it does lean slightly feminine, but men can easily wear this, so don't get it twisted. What was I doing that day? My sister was actually in town, so we had some company, and we were actually going to go to we did go to a food truck park. There's this massive food truck park that we didn't even realize that we had. There's like 80 something food trucks there. So we wanted to go there and actually hop around a couple of food trucks. Well, we only were able to get to one because the weather came in, and yeah, we got up out of there because it wasn't just heavy rain. The lightning was coming down like crazy. I was like, yeah, let's just get up out of here. And also, my kid was with us. She's only 3 months old. It was hot. I was like, yeah, we're just gonna go. We were able to at least try something, and we know it's there, so we'll go back. But that was the only reason I even wore a fragrance that day, because otherwise we weren't gonna do anything. And since I knew it was gonna be warm out, I was like, let's go with Escándalo. It would be perfect for that occasion. I did get rained on a little bit, so it might have washed some of it off, and at that point I didn't really care. I was just trying to get back home. But this is, again, great fragrance for such an occasion as that. So once again, from Day 3 Fragrances, this is Escándalo. All right, moving on. Monday's scent of the day is coming from Xerjoff, and it's going to be Neo. Xerjoff Neo. Neo, I'm sure many of you guys are familiar. It's a very bright and green, fresh, woody like fragrance with a soapy, spicy profile. A lot of bergamot, lime like notes used in this. Good amount of neroli playing into that soapy characteristic. There's like nutmeg and some peppery notes to add to the spice. Green notes, dry, slightly smoky woodiness, rounding out the entire scent. I mean, this is a great scent that, in my opinion, was designed for warmer temperatures in general. That's pretty much why I went with it. Also, it's a fragrance I like to wear during this time of year, so I've said, let me just go ahead and pull that back out. So what did I do for Monday? Well, Monday was Memorial Day. I didn't do any real celebrations. Matter of fact, all we ended up doing was taking my sister to the airport so she could get back to where she needed to go. And then after that, we picked up some lunch and came back home. So I didn't really do anything that exciting on Memorial Day. And as we were taking her to the airport, I said, Neo's a good safe bet. I don't want to choke out my wife and my sister in the car. So I just went with Neo because A, it was hot, and B, I like this fragrance for that type of weather. So once again, from Xerjoff, this is Neo. All right, let's move on to Tuesday. Tuesday's scent of the day is coming from Amyris, and it is Portrayal Man. Amyris Portrayal Man. And this one here, not a freshie outright, but there's fresh characteristics to it, albeit in a very intense way. This one is centered around violet leaf, juniper, a really heavy cade juniper, a little bit of vetiver, and actually I guess that's pretty much it. I think that's the only notes given for the scent too. It's actually a pretty straightforward fragrance. Violet leaf is often used to give like ozonic qualities. It can be a really good fresh additive to a fragrance. So that element is definitely represented here in a relatively heavy way. Kind of similar to Dior Fahrenheit, but without like the petrol gasoline kind of smell. And certainly just this fragrance in general is just a lot simpler. That being said, if you're a fan of Fahrenheit, I think you at least got to check out Portrayal Man. This one here is a great office scent, in my opinion. I did have to go and babysit one of my work sites. That's just the best way I can describe it. And I just wanted to wear something classy that I hadn't worn in a while that I do really, really like. Portrayal Man is that. So that is why it was my scent of the day for that day. Didn't get any compliments. People were, focused on work. They were trying to make sure everything was working, which is kind of why I was there. Running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Ain't nobody got time to be trying to compliment people when they're just kind of on the go. And that's usually the case when I'm in a place where it's a little bit chaotic with work. So once again, from Amyris, this is Portrayal Man. All right, let's move on to Wednesday's scent of the day. This one's coming from Mason Francis Kirkjohn. This is a fragrance I rarely wear. This is Aqua Celestia Cologne Forte. Mason Francis Kirkjohn, Aqua Celestia Cologne Forte. All right, now you've heard me talk about Aqua Celestia Forte a number of times on the channel. If I'm gonna wear the Aqua Celestia DNA, typically I'm gonna go for that one. But this one I've actually grown to appreciate as well. This is actually my wife's fragrance, full disclosure there, so I didn't buy this, she wanted it. And frankly, I wasn't that much of a fan of this scent because at the time I just really wasn't into fresh fragrances like that. But I wore this specifically because A, I was going to be outside, and B, I was going to be working on a vehicle. My company truck needed a battery change, and it's one of those situations where it's not that easy to get the battery out, so I knew I was going to be sweating, not to mention I had to go get the other battery. So I literally just sprayed this on to help me do that, and so it was kind of more of a scent for that occasion, more so for the day, because I didn't have this on the whole day. But that being said, I got to really just kind of smell this and experience it. This one, lime-like citrus, kind of a fresher white floral characteristic. Smells, frankly, very similar to the Aqua Celestia Forte, but the biggest difference is this one's a little bit brighter, even more so overall. Not quite as rich. I think the florals in this are not as not as heavy represented as they are in Aqua Celestia Forte. I think if there is musk in this scent, it's a little bit lighter overall. This one may be more of a focus on like the bergamot and lime like citrus that you get from this fragrance. And also, I don't think this one's gonna last all day compared to Aqua Celestia Forte will last all day. I don't think this one really gives you that. This one kind of makes me think of like white clean linen sheets. It doesn't smell like that. There are fragrances that literally smell like that. This one doesn't really do that. It just makes you think of it. But fresh, bright fragrance that really can combat the high heat. That'll kind of have you smelling fresh and somewhat clean because there's a little bit of a soapy characteristic to this as well on a hot day. So it's a good warm weather choice. Once again, from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, this is Aqua Celestia Cologne Forte. All right, guys, so we're moving on to Thursday. Thursday's scent of the day is coming from Marc-Antoine Barras, and this is Ganymede. Marc-Antoine Barras, Ganymede. I mean, this is my favorite fragrance, right? So I don't like to wear it all the time because I need to give other fragrances in my collection wear so I can, accurately talk about them here on the channel. But I think for that day, I did have to do some work and I didn't really want to think about my scent choice. So I literally just grabbed this. It's near the front of my cabinet. It doesn't sit like dead center or anything, but it's near the front. I can always see it easily. And I said, look, I just want something that's going to smell nice, that's going to work, that'll last the whole day because I don't really know how long this day is going to be. That's why I went with Ganymede. This is a fresh fragrance. It's fresh-like, if you will, but there's definitely freshness in the scent by way of some violet notes and some saffron, adding a fresh, spicy characteristic, also adding a little light leather characteristic. There's this mineralic quality to the fragrance. It's a dry, woody fragrance. It definitely works for the high heat. It kind of works year round, but it actually works really well in the high heat. But through and through, that's why I chose the scent. Look, this is my favorite scent, and I just don't want to think about what I'm wearing today. I just want to know I can smell nice. So I went with Ganymede. I had to work on some equipment at that same work site. I've been going to the same work site all week. I had to go work on some equipment, so I just threw this on, Easy choice, and it works. So once again, from Marc-Antoine Bourgeois, this is Ganymede. All right, guys, so we're moving on to Friday. Friday had a scent of the day and a scent of the evening. So naturally, we'll start with the scent of the day coming from Brioni. It's Brioni Eau de Parfum. Brioni Eau de Parfum. Now, it was not missed on me that I had worn 2 fragrances earlier in the week that have violet leaf. And I said, you know what? Now I want to wear a violet fragrance. And that's what Brioni Eau de Parfum is. A heavy dose of violet in here. Some fruity characteristics. Apple in general. Kind of smells like an apple that's oxidized a little bit. There's a good amount of ambroxan in here. There's some musky characteristics. A little bit of a woodiness as well. Very classy smelling scent. Very gentlemanly, very professional smelling. I did have to go to that work site again, but pretty much just to make sure everything that had been worked on earlier was still working. So I just said, I just want to wear Brioni Eau de Parfum. It smells great. I didn't really expect to run into anybody, so I didn't know if I was going to get a compliment or not. But again, that wasn't really my concern. Just wanted to wear something nice for that day. This day, it was kind of raining on and off all day. So violet, in my opinion, does kind of match with a rainy day, warm rainy day vibe, if that makes sense. So that was another reason I chose to go with this fragrance. But also, I knew I was going to want to wear something else later. So I wore this because this fragrance does not last all day long on my skin. I mean, I get, maybe 6 to 8 hours out of it. So like a solid work day. But yeah, I knew I didn't want anything beast mode for the scent of the day because I was going to spray something else on. So once again, scent of the day, first scent for Friday was Brioni Eau de Parfum. All right, so we're still on Friday and we move into the scent of the evening, and it's coming from Louis Vuitton, and it is Imagination. Louis Vuitton, Imagination. Now, Imagination is normally not a fragrance I would go to for a scent of the evening, so to speak. Normally, if I wear this, I'm going to wear it throughout the day. But here's the deal. It was still hot. It had been raining on and off all day, so the humidity is through the roof. And I had to play a musical gig that evening. And the deal is, it was indoors, but it's in this place where it's normally really, really hot in there because they have like this patio section and they'll have a garage door up to kind of connect the indoor dining with the outdoor dining. And normally that makes it ridiculously hot in there, especially during the summertime. So I was going to wear this because I figured I was just going to be hot the entire night. Turns out they actually had the door closed, so the AC was actually working, and it actually wasn't that hot. If I had known they were going to do that, I probably would have picked something else. But that's why I went with Imagination. This is definitely a fresh fragrance. Good blast of bergamot, Ceylon cinnamon, nutmeg, black tea. It's a tea fragrance that has spice and refreshing nature to it, and a load of ambroxan, which I guess I was wearing ambroxan earlier with another scent, so why not go with another one that has a lot more of it? That wasn't intentional. I just kind of made that connection now, but that's pretty much what you get from the fragrance. This one is easygoing. That was another thing. I didn't really want to think about it. I just wanted something simple and easygoing. Imagination is that. You can use it for whatever, day or night. Even if I choose to wear it for the daytime most of the time, it certainly can work as a night out fragrance as well, especially if you're not really trying to overthink it. And this was a relatively casual environment, so I didn't have to dress it up or nothing like that. So once again, from Louis Vuitton, this is Imagination. All right, and to wrap up the fragrance week on Saturday, I went with Mason Francis Kurkdjian again, and this one was Amyris Homme Extrait. Mason Francis Kurkdjian Amyris Homme Extrait. All right, so the reason I chose this fragrance is the only major thing I was doing that day was playing another musical gig, but this time it was outdoors and I was going to be outside for a while. And yes, it was still hot, but all the rain that had come through actually cooled it off a little bit, but it was still relatively humid and still warm enough where this fragrance was perfect. Mandarin, like citrus here, a blast of Ceylon cinnamon, so a brighter cinnamon, focused around the note of amyris, kind of a balsamic, woody smell, and also good amount of vanilla. So this is like a fresh, sweet fragrance. A little bit of iris kind of hiding in there as well, just to add to that freshness, kind of working as a behind the scenes heart note in my opinion. But yeah, this fragrance here is powerful. I knew I wanted something that was gonna kind of withstand the temperatures. Amyris Homme has kind of always done that. I did spray it kind of heavy, but I was outdoors the whole time, so what? That's a good situation where you can go heavy on the sprays with this fragrance. Smelled great the entire time, was still there by the end of the night, even though at that point I didn't really care. I was just tired. I just wanted to come home and shower and get into bed. But, you know, the fragrance did what it was supposed to do. Once again, from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, this is Amyris Homme Extrait. Alright guys, that wraps up my weekly fragrance rotation. If you would like to, let me know down in the comments below what your rotation was, and if you had a particular event with your fragrances that you feel is notable, feel free to share it down in the comments below. We'd love to see what you guys wore last week. So thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate all of you. Please remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.